Okay, people. So, still figuring this out. It's unfortunate that we've got the lights glaring on the whiteboard, but hey ho, growing pains, as they say. So, I'm just going to explain the format I was talking about in the previous video about the 4 layers of strength and how it relates to pretty much everything, your life. Okay? I'm not going to go super deep because honestly, there's so much to unpack on this. And maybe if I get you all hooked a little bit, I'll do a bit more of an in depth video on each part because we could be talking for hours. And I want to be respectful of your time. Okay, so first of all, 4 layers of strength. We have physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Now, I think we have mental health, the solution for mental health, all backwards. And this is my personal opinion, but if you follow me, I'm going to explain why. And this is like what I've seen throughout my life, the gym, how the gym relates to me, and how it helps people. It's just so important to understand that physical health affects your mental health. I think if we put more emphasis on that, around society, I think we'll have a better chance at fixing a lot of people's mental struggles. So the reason why I call it 4 layers of strength is because it is layers. Like it's very difficult to be mentally okay if your body is not okay. And let me explain. So I did briefly mention like when someone begins to train, to work out, to better themselves physically, they begin to feel better. They start to realize what their bodies can actually do, which changes their mindset, and then it sends to their emotions, and then it changes their state of being, their spiritual aspect, their outlook on life, their purpose, their meaning. Okay, that's the short version of that. So most people, I get a lot of people who come to the gym who are really suffering with mental health, and great that they've come to the gym. It's like the best thing that you can do. And the sad thing about the gym world is most gyms are scary, okay, intimidating. And if you're someone who has never been to a gym before, most likely the first place you're going to look is where can I go that's the cheapest and easiest place to get to. Usually people will choose a commercial gym. And that first experience is enough to like completely turn you off gyms forever. And I wish it wasn't that way, but I'm glad people come to us because we here at Fortitude Gym create an amazing bridge to I don't know what I'm doing to becoming self-sufficient in exercise. Because the way, the whole way we treat people when they come to this gym, it's like almost a hand-holding experience, but we hold their hand throughout the entire journey, that they feel welcome, they feel loved, cared about, valued, so that first experience is like, oh, this is what a gym is like. Like I wouldn't say we are a gym because like it doesn't define what we actually do here. And what I'm about to explain today is what we actually do here. It's more than a gym. It's more than just physical strength. It is the transformation of you as a character. So when people come to our gym, you grow more than just in your physical performance, aesthetic body, right? So most people come and they're trapped in this area here, the mental state. And the way society addresses mental health is they want to talk about it. Okay, and I think that's the wrong approach. If you look at the nervous system, for example, you've got the command center up here, and if you look at the actual nervous system, took away everything else and just kept the nervous system, what it looks like is a tree. So you got the command center, and then everything branches off all over here. So it's all connected for one. So what I'm saying is your body is your brain. And this is super important because when we're stuck in here, the reason people suffer with the mental health is because you can't switch this thing off. Like I've been there, I know what it's like, and it's horrible. I totally understand why people choose to opt out, if you know what I'm saying, because you can't get away from the thing that's winding you up, and it won't shut up, and it just keeps going on and on at you. And the only way to escape this is to get into the body. Okay? But we kind of address this issue with, let's talk about it, let's talk about it, let's think about what we can change. And all you're doing is churning up more and more chaos inside the brain. Yes, it's good to talk about things. Yes, it's good to get things off your chest. And yes, I do feel there is value in it, but I think there's way more value in just like, let's get out of here for a minute and let's just get out of our heads, because that's what we need to do, is get out of our heads. Thinking makes you crazy. Okay? So by exercising, what you're doing is you are driving your thinking away from here into this. Okay? Mind-muscle connection. You've got to think a hell of a lot about like what you're doing, pumping those weights. You've got to move in strange ways, some work in your body, which requires effort, thought, and yeah. And if you do that, it is therapy. It is bioenergetic meditation. It's the way to release the stress through the body. Whereas I think if we're trying to fix our minds by talking more about it, we're increasing the problem. Again, my opinion, but I'm sure a lot of you would agree with this concept. So a lot of people come here, they're stuck in this zone. And I believe that you can't fix this problem with the same solution. So that's why I believe everybody's progress, everybody's strive for greatness, lack of words, but all needs to begin at this foundation of physical strength. Once you have proven to yourself, or you have a gym, a community, a system that will help prove to you that you are capable of being stronger physically, better in performance, that's when it will ascend to this. Because one, it takes it away from your mind. You're actually working through your body. You're getting healthy. You get oxygen through your body. You're feeling better. You're more energized. Your endorphins are running, so you have a more positive outlook on life. Then we can start to strengthen our mental state. Okay? And then what happens when we start to strengthen our mental state, because we've dumped a lot of that through our body, we have more space to start to work on our minds, we can start replacing the space that we've created in our minds with good things. So I don't know if you might have seen the video or some memes or whatever in the past where someone's got a dirty glass of water and they start pouring clean water into the glass. And it takes a while, but they just keep pouring that water, and eventually the dirty water becomes clean. And that's kind of how this process works in the mind. I like to think about, right, the blood that's pumping through your body. If you are an unexercised, sedentary person that eats not great, maybe drinks a lot, your blood carries that with you. And if you don't have a way for it to exit, it's basically toxic blood. Toxic blood is going to equal toxic mind. It's going to equal toxic emotions, feelings, nastiness. So I like to think about physical training, exercise, sweating, to be precise, as the filtering out of shit, basically. So if you think about, all right, you're drinking water, all right, yes, you're peeing some out, which helps, but the contents of your toxic blood is still lingering around and it's doing things. So another way to clean out that blood is to exercise and excrete through your skin the toxins. So this is why it's like almost exorcism of the body in a way, where the nastiness is leaving your body and then it's replaced with cleaner water. So this is that dirty cup, cleaner water analogy. That happens and we become clean, we become refreshed, we become energized. And over time, and it does happen quicker than you think. Yeah, it's not just like in a day, but it's also not in months. It's like, a couple of weeks and you'll feel amazing. And that's when that dirty glass becomes clear and our mental clarity is there. Guess what happens when that has happened? When you have mental clarity, thoughts, your feelings begin as thoughts. What you think defines who you are. You must have heard that before. So by controlling your thoughts, replacing those bad thoughts, now we've created space and pushed the badness out through our body for exercise, we can now replace these thoughts with positivity, good things, direct our attention to, healthy habits, healthy thinking, healthy distractions, not scrolling, right? So we've got to be, this is mental strength, right? There's so many things I'm going to talk about in each section of how to increase the mental strength and little tips and to make this water stay clean and crystal rather than filling it with crap over and over again. This then ascends to the emotional strength, because what you think is how you feel, right? That's what it leads to. A thought happens, you feel a certain way about a thought, and then that usually creates a reaction or a response, and that's what creates your character, believe it or not. So once that happens, we then get emotional strength. And when we're feeling good, when we feel good, that's what changes our whole perception of reality. Because what you feel is real. It is for you, at least. How you feel really defines how you show up in this world. And if you change the way you feel, wouldn't you agree that that would change your decisions, change your response of some things that are happening to you, that then will almost eventually change the spiritual, which is your purpose, your meaning in life. Like when most people, when they're struggling with mental health, they feel hopeless, rejected, lonely, anxious, depressed. Yeah? When we're feeling good, we're not feeling those things. It's total opposite end of the spectrum. So when we're feeling good, we're going to feel positive about life, which then ascends to purpose, meaning, and actually feeling like you should be here and you're doing a good thing. All right. So can you see, like, why it's so important to me? Like what we do here at this gym is not just about getting people fit. It's all this, right? So have a think about that next time if you are thinking about joining the gym or you are thinking about bettering yourself, that it's not just, I want to lose some weight. Just think of the possibilities. And this is this is quite in depth, okay? And when people come to our gym and we take them through a sales appointment, we call them, it's basically a consultation, so we can define the problems, we can outline and understand their situation, so we can map out a program that's going to best help them. And because I know all this inside me, I'm trying to fit this into their life. I'm like, how is this going to enhance their life? What are they struggling with? Where are they stuck? How is my gym and our services going to completely transform this person's life and they're going to be happy, right? Because a lot of people who come to the gym, they're not happy about something, definitely not happy about the body, right? And it's the downward domino effect. So it's so cool to see when someone actually, they take on the program, they do the work, they adhere to the program, and you see this transformation happen in real time. Nothing. Excuse me. That's the aircon unit making noises, and it's going to bubble. But yeah, nothing pleases me more than seeing this happen in a person. It's what makes everything worth it. And that's what we do here at Fortitude Gym. So next time you're thinking about going to a gym, don't waste your time on commercial gyms. They don't care about you. We do, because we know this formula. We know where it's going to take you. That being said, these are the 4 layers of strength, and it's how they compound on each other. Once we've kind of addressed these and we're in a good place, it then kind of becomes a quadrant. Okay, because each area needs attention. Because I bet you've been through the cycle before. You get fit, you feel good, and then you slip. And all of a sudden you're back to where you were and you're depressed again and you can't figure out why. And then you start training again. You're like, that's why. I just needed to start training again. I do it all the time. I'm like, why am I feeling crappy? And then I jump back in one of our sessions or something and get a sweat on. I'm like, I feel a different person. simple solution, but we have amnesia or whatever it is, and we just forget these things. Even I do. So I constantly have to remind myself about this. So we have to be reminded more than we need to be taught new things. So it becomes a quadrant. And what this means is each area needs constant attention and constant focus, because if you're not growing, you're dying in a certain aspect. And I've outlined it here. So we've got the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. I could go on so long with this concept because it shows up in lots of areas of life, and I don't want to lose you, so I'm not going to go too deep into it right now, but I might do in the future. Each area is kind of identified with a characteristic, a element of the human psyche. So the human psyche is like a definition of, a scientific definition of what the soul is. Okay, it's kind of, how do we define the soul? We can't really in concrete sort of evidence, because we can't feel it, touch it, see it, and like, what even is it? But it's like, how do we define what love is? We know it's there, we know we can experience it, but show it to me. We can't do that. But we can't deny it exists either, because if you deny it exists, then tell me how this works right now. I'm communicating with you with something called Wi-Fi, which I can't grab, but somehow it's working. So yeah, radio waves, but you can't see them. But same sort of aspect. So we can't deny that these things that we can't see don't exist. Right, where am I going with this? So each aspect of this relates to a characteristic, like I was saying. And there's a cool book, if you want to look in more into this, I think it's Robert Moore. I think that's how you spell it, but Robert Moore wrote a book, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, and that's kind of where this all falls into place. So each element of yourself is represented by, all right, what is the warrior part of you? That's the doing aspect, all right, which is related to the physical part of you. You've got the magician, which is the thinking aspect. So we've got doing, thinking, and then we've got the emotional aspect, which is the lover, which is the feeling part of it. And then we've got the spiritual, which is the king, which is the being part of it. And all these aspects create a whole, a characteristic, the definition of who you are, your soul, some might say. And that's why each one is so important to themselves. But again, I'm not going to go too deep on this. I just wanted to kind of understand the philosophy and the logic behind all this, and why it is so important to kind of understand these aspects, so we can, once we understand something and we know what we're working to, then the work can begin. Okay, so that is that. Another quick thing about what, all right, I said to you what we do here at our gym, and there's different elements of it. We did a program within our gym. We called it the Rebirth program, which was, all right, we've done the physical. We do the physical within the gym, which is focused on, you know, your aesthetics, your performance, your nutrition, everything that is involved with this thing that you're carrying around, that you live inside your body. Yeah. And then the Rebirth was all about, how do we increase our mental strength and our emotional strength? So it was tactics on productivity, discipline, making sure we're showing up, all things related to mental and also emotional. So emotional is where it starts to get a little bit less tangible, and it's really interesting. I had a lot of good feedback with the people who did this Rebirth program with us. I'm going to go into it in more detail in an actual separate video for each one of these, so I'm not going to ruin it for you. But just to create another little bit of curiosity, maybe, is a great way to access the spiritual, which again is another example. Is like, all right, you can't see it, but it's there. Is like, where does an idea come from? Like, that's a reasonable question to ask, isn't it? Where does an idea come from? If it came from you, then does it come from inside this body, from your brain chemicals? Like, it's got to come from somewhere. So I would argue it came from above. Yeah. Downloading, I call it. But fasting is cool. If you've ever explored fasting, you know what this is. And I'm not talking about 18-6, intermittent fasting. I'm talking about prolonged fasting. Now, fasting was practiced loads historically. All religions mention it. Ancient civilizations practice it all the time. We're like the only, it's new age that we don't fast anymore. Everyone has to have 3 meals a day. It's unhealthy if you don't eat. Total wrong. We'll talk more about it, and it's actually magical what fasting does to you. During an extended fast, again, I'm going to rush through this because I could do a whole lesson on this, multiple lessons on this. But I just want to understand something. Fasting, when you're eating, you are digesting. Digestion takes energy. It takes a lot out of your body's effort to digest, okay? And pretty much most of you, all of you, are digesting all the time. And unless you have not eaten for an extended period of time, i.e. like 24, 48, 72 hours is the sweet spot, by the way, because that's when generally your glycogen storage has been taken up and you are then running on ketones, ketosis, which your body chemistry and your mental chemistry changes. This is when it gets interesting. There's such a thing as like the fasting high that happens, and what that is when all your body makes that switch to a ketosis sort of chemistry. When the body's not thinking about digesting, and once it's kind of gone past hunger, because there is an element of fasting where you just don't get hungry, you don't need it, and it's amazing. You just feel clean, you feel light, you feel almost at one, right? And there was a kind of an analogy or something to like visualize that someone explained this to me, but basically food is creating like a filter, almost like a blockage within the body. And if you've ever like seen the chakra system, which is, it's real, it's a bundle of nerves, and it's like, it's quite in Eastern practices, they talk about crown chakra, heart chakra, all this, the root chakra, like all this kind of exists. But when we're eating, these things are kind of blocked off. So when you're fasted, what that creates is like a channel. And because of the mental clarity, it almost allows like these ideas I was talking about, they come in full and thick, and they come from above straight through the body. This is why a lot of, a lot of famous like historians, I can't even remember what the words I'm thinking of, like Plato and Aristotle and these old Roman people, they'd fast for days on days, okay? Because what they knew is when they fast, they were clear-headed, and that's when they could access ideas, directions from above. And unless you've tried it, you won't understand it. And I wouldn't jump into it because there is some strategies you must follow to do it in a safe and healthy way if you're not accustomed to it. But you actually start to think in a different way. Your mind becomes decluttered. Your vision is, and I mean like your internal vision is just so much clearer. You almost hear or feel the direction you should be in when it comes to downloading from above. And I'm getting a little bit off topic now, so I'm going to end this video before I lose you all. But if you found these concepts interesting and the kind of direction we're going in, stay with me. Join me for the journey, and I'm going to break down each one of these segments. And I mentioned I was going to go over everything that I've learned along the way about strengthening these areas of my life. And there's a lot of cool things, a lot of cool tactics that I think you're going to love. And each one is probably going to fit each segment of these. Apply them to your life, grow stronger in every area of your life. And join me on the journey because we're going to some good places. The mission is to share everything I know and help as many people as I possibly can with the knowledge that I have. Okay? That's it for today. Bye.